Hey guys, it's Misty Burmeister here. I love this conversation around diversity and inclusion. I just had a chance to speak with a gentleman who's in charge of diversity and inclusion for a pretty reputable, awesome, large-scale organization. And they're struggling to get women and minorities up into the higher ranks within the organization. In fact, they don't even stay. They come in, they work their way up to middle management, and then they leave. So not only are they not moving up, but they're not staying within the organization. And as a result, you get what they have is basically 75% of the people at the very highest ranking are all, as he said, older white gentlemen. And they're really struggling because they recognize that all of these people who are on the top all come from similar backgrounds. And so the idea of innovation and creativity is greatly hampered because the women and the minorities, people of different backgrounds, don't make it into these higher rankings. And I asked him, I said, so what are you doing? What have you done so far? What have you done lately? Because he's been working on this for a few years, and it continues to remain 75% within the organization at the top are that older white gentleman group, and people of diversity keep leaving and not making their way up. So what have you done recently? And he said, we put together a mentoring program, and we pulled all the mentors and mentees into one room. We put out a great spread of food and put around tables, and so people could sit around and have conversations. And it was clear, who was a mentor and who was a mentee. And I said, I can't wait to hear. This is a sort of a very left brain environment, very scientific group of people. And I said, tell me, I can't wait to hear, how did it go? Because it was, it didn't work at all. I said, of course it didn't. And he went on to tell me about how, the people who were in a position of mentorship sort of saw themselves as the upper echelon, and the experience for the other folks was that they're less than, and people actually, the room was silent almost the entire time, and that's sort of a thing. Just throwing people into a room with some food doesn't quite create the connection that we're looking for inside of organizations that help to nurture and build relationships between people of differences or between people in general. So some quick ideas I gave him that seemed to be helping him, and some ideas I want to share with you also is, when people of differences understand the greater reason to come together and collaborate, magic happens. This is true whether we're talking about generational diversity or any sort of diversity. When there is a clear vision that is greater and bigger than any one of the individuals, people find a way naturally to start working together. Now, there are some other critical elements that are involved in that. Picking a champion, a few within the organization, especially if it's large scale, who are clearly very good at fostering connections and collaboration between people and who believe in diversity and inclusion. Getting those people involved and seeing themselves as champions of diversity and inclusion is incredibly helpful. I've seen that work inside of other organizations. And then the final piece I suggested to him is to become the fosterer, if you will, of synergistic relationships or conversations. So it's taking the time to go and chat with the 75% and finding out, what do you have in common with them? And he kind of looked at me funny. I said, well, I know that you and I both love to go hiking. We both love the outdoors. We also love fitness. And so our conversation actually began from that place. We started talking about fitness, and then we started talking about outdoors, and then it built and we started to see our commonalities, and as a result of our commonalities, now we're in this deep conversation about diversity. Well, diversity is the same thing. Getting people who think of themselves as so different to see their commonalities naturally results in a deepening of relationships. So I want to suggest and offer this as an idea to the folks out there who are looking to increase diversity in whatever area, be it at the top of the organization or simply within the organization. How do you begin developing and deepening the relationships you personally have with people of differences within your organization? Have you shared with them about yourself? Have you found out or learned some things about them, that maybe don't have anything to do with work? Do you guys both like learning about sustainable farming? I do. That's one of my great passions. I love it. And I've built some incredible relationships as a result. Do you love to read about the similar things? Do you love, what are some commonalities that are not work related that you can begin to build on, that create trust, and that allow for relationships to form. Start there and watch as the diversity within your organization and the creation of connections between people of diversity start to form. Here's to your greatness and your organization's greatness and the world's greatness. Peace out.